Here's the truth. If losing weight was just about picking the right diet, then half of the planet would be ripped by now. But here we are, still looking for answers. I get it. You probably did all the things I did. You tried keto, you tried fasting, you tried everything. All these fad diets, chicken and rice like the bodybuilders do, time-restricted eating, all the different things. Malibu diet, they have names for all of them. But you usually hate every second of these diets. And at the end of it, nothing really changes. And I mean, here's the thing. It's not you, it's not the diet. It's not that you just don't have discipline, because that's what a lot of people will tell you or lead you to believe. It's that you're trying to lose weight in a world that makes eating way too easy and way too much fun. I mean, just take a look at the food out there. Now, I could give you a lecture about calories and macros and meal timing, but instead, let's talk about the stuff that actually makes a difference. The stuff that's so obvious, it almost feels stupid to say. And yet, myself included, like most other people, completely ignore it because we'd rather move on to the next shiny object, the next shiny diet that we think is gonna fix everything, or the pill, or the injection, or whatever the fad is at the time. Now, let's start with this. If junk food is the first thing that you see when you open up your cupboard, guess what you're gonna eat? Yeah, the junk. And that's not from a lack of discipline, that's just basic human nature. We like to make things easy. So don't put it there. Don't test yourself by keeping cookies out on the counter like some sort of self-control Olympics that you have to compete in every day. You're gonna lose every time. And if your fridge looks like a gas station snack aisle, you need to fix that. Put the good stuff at eye level. The eggs, the Greek yogurt, the chicken, the steak. I love steak. Because when you're hungry and you're going for the easiest option, that's what's gonna win. If it's there, if it's ready to go. I had a client and he swore that he had zero willpower. And I told him, I said, listen, you gotta get the junk out of the house. At least hide it in the garage on yourself. You know, you can't have chips when you open up the thing. You're just driving yourself crazy with this temptation. So we moved the chips from the cupboard. I told him, put them in a sealed bin in your garage, up high on a shelf where you can't get them. Guess what? When he went for the chips after, he didn't want to go and climb up on that and grab the chips. He hardly ever went and got them. A couple of times he did, but hey, that's okay. You just don't want to eat them every night. And I mean, walking out into the garage, getting the ladder, climbing up on the thing, you have a few minutes to think about all this as you're going through that process. So you're really not going to do it. Laziness is like a superpower when it works in your favor. So if you make it hard to get the treats, then it's gonna make it simple to lose weight. Now let's talk about breakfast. If you start your day with a donut and a caramel coffee the size of a fire hydrant, congratulations, you just set yourself up for an all-day hunger rodeo. I mean, I always start with protein. Every morning, I'll have eggs, I'll have Greek yogurt, or sometimes even a protein shake. But eggs are my absolute go-to. And if you've got more time, yeah, you can make an omelet and add some veggies and make a steak and have eggs or leftover chicken, you know, with salsa from the night before. The point is, start your day winning. And here's why it matters so much, because protein, it slows digestion. It keeps you full. It stops you from eating like a raccoon at midnight. And I mean, it's not magic. It's just simple biology, and it works every time. I get all my clients to do this. I've done this with myself. I used to eat the sugary cereals, putting layer and layer of sugar when I was a kid on cornflakes and Rice Krispies and Shreddies. And I mean, it was insanity when I think back to those days. But I mean, you know, let's also talk about what happens when you actually stick to clean eating for more than 10 days. Listen, I get it. You're gonna hate it at first because you're addicted to sugar, and your body will scream for something sweet, something salty, something with the crunch, some of these hyper-palative addictive foods that they always get us hooked on. But give it some time, your taste buds will reset, and the stuff you used to think you love starts to taste kind of like poison. It doesn't taste good. It's kind of gross. That Frappuccino in the morning, you know, those big coffee companies that you seem to couldn't live without. Well, now it's just like liquid candy. It's sweet and it's disgusting and it really doesn't taste that good because your taste buds have changed. And suddenly you actually want to eat steak and eggs, maybe some veggies on the side, or some fruit. I've seen it 100 times. I know what you're thinking. Week one, it's gonna be total misery, and you're right. It's hard to get through. You might get headaches, you might get cravings, you might get stomach cramps. You're probably not gonna feel the greatest. But by the time you get to week 2 and 3, blueberries start to taste like candy. Your taste buds have flipped over. You get to week 6, and I mean, fast food is just gonna turn your stomach. And if you actually eat some, it's gonna hit you like a bus. You're gonna feel like crap. And listen, I'm not talking about giving up on all that stuff, but even when you do eat sweets, I like to get things from the bakery now. Instead of a chocolate bar that's full of all the chemicals and everything, there's this Boulder Hill bakery in our town. It's a mom and her daughter. I believe they actually care about the ingredients they put in their stuff. So I get some treats there when I want them, right? And I mean, I don't want you to think that this is prison, but make those things a special treat, not your default. You shouldn't have something sweet for breakfast in the morning. And I mean, these drinks that you get at some of these coffee places, they have 300, 400, 500 calories in them. And I mean, if you're eating dessert every morning or every night, you know, it's not just dessert anymore. If it's ice cream, it's like dairy with a side of a you're gonna feel bad. You're gonna destroy your body. You can't do those things every night. But when you make it a rare thing or a treat, you actually enjoy it more. And weirdly, you stop obsessing over it because you don't want it. You're not, your body, like the chemicals they put in these things, you gotta remember there's teams of people that design these foods to make you want more and more and more. Okay, let's get practical. How do you make all this actually happen and put it together in a plan? Well, step 1, I want you to clean out your environment. And I mean it. Go through your kitchen. Go through your cupboards, go through your fridge. If it's a trigger food for you that makes you eat and eat and eat, you either gotta get rid of it and get it out of the house is what I believe is the best plan, or you hide it on yourself. And I get it, maybe there's other people in the house and they want that stuff around, but you know what? If you're the adult in the house and you don't buy the stuff, the kids won't eat it either. And they'll learn to adapt and eat other things. We try not to keep chips and all these things in the house during the week. Sometimes on the weekend, we'll get some of those treats, but a lot of times that stuff's not even around. And you know, you gotta be careful if you're thinking it's healthy, because if you can't stop at one serving, it's gonna be a problem. And I mean, nuts are a real culprit for this. I know with myself, the sweet, salty, highly palatable nuts that you just wanna eat and eat and eat, and they're loaded with calories. I mean, there's some of these nuts you can eat 500, 800, 1,000 calories in a very small amount. And I mean, peanut butter's another thing for me. I have to be really careful with peanut butter because I can literally eat just spoonfuls of it. And I put it in a smoothie. Sometimes it's 3 or 4 or 5 tablespoons. It's just way too many calories, especially if you're trying to lose weight. If you're trying to get in shape, if you're trying to maintain a certain body fat percentage, right? You gotta stay away from that stuff. So just be careful. Get the stuff out of your house that makes you eat tons and tons and tons of it. Step 2, I want you to prep some food ahead. Now, whenever I'm making a meal or cooking something, I always try and make enough to have at least 1 or 2 meals left over. And I'm not talking about, you know, bodybuilder and Tupperware and you have to have a whole week's worth of stuff. I used to do that, and chicken at the end of a week can taste disgusting. It's dry, it's gross. But if you have a couple of meals, just enough to cover if you get hungry or if you get busy and you don't have time to cook. I mean, overnight oats for breakfast, stuff like this. I have eggs all the time. And, you know, sometimes I'll just always have hard-boiled eggs in the fridge. I can just grab them, cut them up, put them in a bowl, heat them. Just makes it super simple. Chicken, another easy one. Amanda's always making chicken breasts, 3 or 4 or 5 or 6 of them in the fridge. Me and JJ tear through them in a couple of days. You know, you wanna always have something ready. So when you're not making decisions and thinking clearly, if you're hungry, if you're tired, and you're irrational, then you're gonna have something ready and good to go. And step 3, I mean, I see what people eat. Yes, I'm judging you at the grocery store when you're filling your cart with processed foods and all this. You gotta stop eating like you're at a carnival. If every meal you have comes deep fried, covered in powdered sugar or on a stick, you're off the rails. You need to build your meals around real food. And this is why I always talk about going back to basics. You have to have protein first. I always try and get some vegetables in. The nutrients come from the soil through the vegetables. There's fiber, there's all these things. Whether you believe it's good or not, people have been eating this stuff for centuries. It's the last 100 years where things have gone off track and all these chronic diseases have cropped up. So I'm not blaming vegetables, I'm not blaming meat. People have been eating this stuff forever. When I eat it, I feel good. When I eat the other stuff, I feel crappy. And I mean, carbs and fats, just keep them at reasonable amounts. And keep them real carbs, not the processed crap. Potatoes. I mean, some pastas are okay. Rice is great. I love rice. I've been eating it since I was a kid. And you can still have fun food too, but it's the side act. It's not the main event. You want to keep that stuff to a minimum. And I mean, if your lunch looks like it was bought with a handful of tickets at the prize booth, it's not a lunch. It's a slow slide back into stretchy pants. Nobody wants to wear those all the time, right? The last thing too that I want to talk about is movement. You know, and you don't have to run marathons, and you don't have to, a lot of people I know think that bodybuilders train at the gym 8 hours a day, but that's completely not true. They spend like 4 or 5 hours there usually. I'm like 45 minutes to an hour each workout, and I try and train 4 or 5 days a week. I mean, I just took a whole week off because I went on a trip. You can do that when you're in shape and when you're consistent with the gym and you're eating good. You can take a week off. You're not gonna lose all your progress. You might go up a couple pounds and then drop a couple when you come back. And I mean, you don't have to do burpees until you throw up, do exercise like you're gonna die, right? You don't have to do that. That's not what it takes. But if you're sitting 10 hours a day at your job, you're basically marinating in your own body fat. You gotta get up, you gotta move. I want you to walk after lunch, walk after dinner, walk after breakfast. I don't care what kind of a job, you can always squeeze this in. You get your 15-minute breaks, you get your half-hour lunch, you gotta choose what you're gonna do with these times, and don't just sit there and scroll on your phone. Get some headphones, listen to a podcast, go for a walk. And the other thing I want you to do, you guys hear me mention this all the time, get in the gym. I want you to lift weights. Our bodies, our lives with the phones and TVs and computers and light at night and everything has drastically changed. And you need to maintain and build muscle because we don't have laborious jobs like we used to. Most of us are doing things on the computer or with all very minimal movement, very minimal like muscle actually being used. Computers, machines, you know, robots are doing all these things, you know? And the other thing, like, if you have a chance, if you have kids and you have a chance, you know, play a sport with them or go to the pool with them, don't sit on the side. I used to see this all the time. I'd get in the pool with my kids and yeah, sometimes I didn't feel like it or I was too tired, but it was time that I got to spend with my kids instead of sitting on the sidelines. And I see parents do this all the time on their phones, on the sidelines. Don't do that. You're gonna regret it later. That time spent with your kids, there's no better time, in my opinion. And I mean, when you're doing these activities, you're not thinking of burning calories, you're just moving your body and it's gonna make it function better and your lymphatic system's gonna move, your muscles are gonna move, which is what it's all meant to do. And the whole use it or lose it comes into play there. And now, I always like to mention sleep because I was notoriously a bad sleeper. And I thought I'd sleep when I'm dead and all this stuff, and this was just terrible. And now that I track my sleep more and realize how important it is, realize how it affects my aging, realize how it affects my body. You know, if you're running on 5 hours or less a night, you're setting yourself up for failure and you're gonna probably live a shorter life. And lack of sleep messes everything up. Your hunger hormones, your ghrelin will go through the roof, your leptin goes down, and I mean, you're gonna be hungrier, you're gonna be more irritable, you're gonna more likely say screw it on the weekends and, you know, crush half a pizza and drink a bunch of Diet Coke. It takes, what I learned is it actually takes work. You have to set a bedtime alarm. I have a bedtime alarm when I go, and you know, maybe that's because I'm older, but maybe I care more about my sleep. I care more about my health. I got 2 boys. I want to be around for them. I want to see their kids. I want to see them have kids. I want to be a grandpa. You know, Amanda's dad recently died a year ago, and I mean, he got to see some grandkids, but he could have been around a lot longer if he just had taken a few steps to, you know, be careful with his health. 30 minutes before bed, you know, that's your cue to get off the computer, get off the phone, dim the lights, actually let your brain shut off, and then your serotonin levels are gonna start to come up. Here's the secret to it all. You don't have to overhaul your life in one shot. As a matter of fact, if you do that, you're probably gonna fail. Pick one or two of these changes, do them until they're automatic, until they become a habit. Then add another. It's just like building a muscle. You're not gonna start by going into the gym and bench pressing 400 pounds. You're just gonna hurt yourself, you're gonna fail, and it's not gonna work. So you start with what you can do and you build from there slowly. It's taken you years and years and years probably to get to where you're at now, so it might take a little bit of time to get out of it. But just be patient with yourself. And if you stack enough of these small wins, then they become default, they become automatic, they become habits. And when your default is healthy, weight loss stops being a fight. It's not hard anymore. So here's the short version. Set up your kitchen so that you've got the right choice, comes easy as pie. Start your day with protein, move your body every day, and sleep like it matters. And give it all long enough to turn into habits, because it'll take a little time. And that's it. That's the simple. That's the 1, 2, 3, 4 of it. It's not sexy, but it's way more effective than starting another fad diet or starting something crazy where you cut out a whole macronutrient. You know, the carb guys. There's even stuff online now about the sugar diet, all sugar, which I don't even know how that works. I'm not even going down that wormhole. But if you want to make changes in your life and you're fed up with being fat, sick, and tired, drop me a comment, set up, and I'll help you set this whole thing up so that it becomes easy. And seriously, I want you to hide those cookies, because you know all of us, including myself, aren't that strong. And remember, it's never too late to make a change. I'll see you in the next one.